With us now is the Notre Dame Day hotline is John Carney. You might remember John's name. He was a Fighting Irish football player in 1984 as a walk-on kicker, and later went on to play the most NFL games of any former Notre Dame football player in history. And, oh, by the way, he's the 5th all-time leading scorer in the history of the NFL. John, it's so good to catch up with you again. Thanks for joining me.
Joe, it's great to be on. Thank you very much.
It's a special night here at Notre Dame Day, and I mean, you have had such a storied career, and it seemed like every time a season rolled around, John Carney was a part of a football team. Just tell me a little bit about the transition out of the game into what I call civilian life.
Civilian life, well, I'm still trying to transition, but it's been a lot of fun and a challenge. Towards the end of my career, probably similar to you, Joe, the young kickers that were around, or when I was filling in for injured kickers, I was asked by the coaching staff to mentor them and teach them and share some of my experience and wisdom with them. And so that kind of continued on into my retirement. I just kind of opened the doors and started reaching out to the high school, college, and professional specialists that wanted some more coaching and wanted some mentorship and some leadership. And so I enjoy doing what I do. I was blessed to play many years and learn a few things, and so it's fun to share that with the younger generations and see their light bulbs turn on and their game reach new levels. And so that's what we've been doing out here in California.
Well, John, what was it like as a walk-on being on the Notre Dame football team? I mean, the expectations couldn't have been that high.
They weren't, but I'll tell you this, and I've heard a lot of different stories from walk-ons and other programs, and my son, J.D. Carney, is a walk-on right now at Notre Dame as a sophomore quarterback. And I will say this, Notre Dame does a good job of treating their walk-ons with respect and valuing them and giving them opportunity. I think when I came in, there was about 14 of us, about 10 of us stuck it out, and I'd say about 7 of us earned scholarships sometime between their freshman and senior year. But yeah, it was certainly a challenge, but it was an exciting challenge. And again, Notre Dame was kind enough to give me the opportunity to compete. And by the end of training camp my freshman year, I was kicking off for the Irish. We started off with the season against Purdue and put a pretty nice whooping on the Purdue Boilermakers there, and so it was just a lot of fun. I was very, very blessed to be a part of the Fighting Irish.
Was there ever a point, we'll talk about your professional career for a second, was there ever a point where you felt like it was just, I'm done? I mean, you've played a lot of different places, been given a lot of opportunities, filled in for a lot of people. Was there a point where you just said, I'm finished with it?
Well, certainly the times that don't go well, you prepare the best you can, and you come out of a game and things didn't go your way. That certainly is frustrating. But again, for me personally, that turned into more motivation of, okay, let's go back to the drawing board, prepare better, and make sure that doesn't happen again. Towards the end of my career, it was a challenge and an exciting one at that, just to see how long I could push the envelope. I played into my 40s, and next thing you know, I was 46. My last stint with the New Orleans Saints. So it was how long can I make this body still fake them out and make some field goals on Sundays. So that was really exciting. I really felt that the NFL cut my career short, Joe. I think I got a couple of years left in me.
Yeah, I think you probably do. And the way things go in this league, you never know. And everybody says, oh, my goodness, Tom Brady's going to be 42. How much longer can he keep going? You're the guy that everybody ought to model themselves after, not necessarily Tom. You are the Iron Man of football. One other thing, too, what I found interesting is I know with Mark Mosley, our kicker in Washington, D.C., it's a lonely life at times because you guys are over on another field somewhere, and we're out running around, hitting one another, throwing the ball around, and you guys are over, and then you kick some balls because you don't want to wear yourself out. And then what do you do with your time?
Well, there are a lot of other drills that aren't so physically taxing that we can do. Greg Davis, a good friend of mine who kicked for me when I got hurt at the Chargers in 1997, he would go through a visualization process for about 30 minutes. He would be on an empty field and just do his steps and pretend, okay, next field goal is 32 yards, do his steps and go through his whole routine and just continue to dial in his routine. And there's a number of things we do, strength and conditioning, which is skill specific. So we do some agilities on our own that the team's not doing. We do some teams allow you to get into the weight room during practice and do some of your workouts in the weight room. Obviously, a lot of stretching. And then I've been with many teams that, they ask during the course of practice to help out other sections of the team. I know we ran patterns for defensive backs and did lineups for certain defensive schemes and stuff, which was certainly helpful to them, and it kept us involved with the team.
I'll bet you when you lined up as a wide receiver with the scout team, you put a ton of fear in those cornerbacks' hearts.
Yeah, I had them on their heels.
I did the same thing my rookie year. I mean, I ran punts, I ran punts back, I returned punts, actually did it in games, played wide receiver, played running back. I mean, your love for the game became so obvious, obviously, because it lasted for such a long time. And I think one of the things that's a real credit to you, first of all, is the great perseverance you showed here at the University of Notre Dame. Certainly, I guarantee you, JD is going to show that same perseverance as he, is a walk-on, following in his father's footsteps. Having had a son go here, I know how proud you are, and I know how proud he is of you. And listen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time, share some stories, staying up this late and visiting with us, and being a part of Notre Dame Day.
Well, Joe, I really appreciate it, and I've always been proud to know that guys like you paved the road before us, and I've always enjoyed watching your career and how much you've accomplished. And, of course, when I was with the Saints, you came through a lot covering our games. It was always great to catch up with you and talk Irish football.
Thanks, John. Take care of yourself.
Thank you, Joe. God bless.